Okay, well, what a great start to the year. It's 2024, people! You know what that means. A new year, new memories, and the upcoming schlop that is my cringe-ass furry review videos. At this point, I've already got 3 or 4 that'll be coming out this month, so folks better strap in. Y'all are in for a long ride. Oh, damn it. One thing that I noticed was that a lot of my videos were part on Patreon, but don't worry, YouTube is getting the main bulk of it this time. And what better way to start than with a series of games that seem to be so well received that the publisher just kept pumping these damn things out like rabbits in the spring. If I see one low punny joke in the comments, so help me God!
Batman, there's no laws against the Pokemon, Batman. I can do whatever I want with it.
The My Furry Series is what we're tackling today, which are a series of short visual novel stories, usually featuring you, the protagonist, meeting a specific furry waifu, most of the time either on accident or through chance. Yes, by the way, these games are of the NSFW variety, but the thing is that it's only like that if you download a patch. No, I won't be going too into detail with these scenes, but I will give a brief opinion of them later on. So, if you're under the age, don't even think about downloading that patch. I'll know, I'm in your walls, little Billy! First, let's talk about the developers. These guys are known as Dirty Fox Games, go figure, and they've basically been doing this for years, with their first game being My Furry Neighbor, debuting August 28th of 2021. These guys mostly specialize in the visual novel genre, with each game having a different story to tell. Props to these guys though. They were able to basically milk a single genre and idea for years now. Most would get tired and try experimenting with something else, but these guys are the definition of the phrase,
if it's not Baroque, don't fix it.
Honestly though, I didn't think much about this series. In fact, I had already reviewed a few furry visual novels, so this series just seemed kinda unnecessary to look at. I mean, when you have games like The Crown of Leaves, and even games like Friend Sim and Pester Quest, yes, I'm counting these as furry games, they are essentially bug people, it's not difficult to be overshadowed. It's like going out to dinner and ordering the mozzarella sticks rather than the breadsticks, you know? Why get the plain shit when you could have the extra helping of deliciousness for possibly even less? Seems like a no-brainer, in my honest opinion. However, my friend Meg ended up gifting me 2 of the games. So of course, being who I am, I ended up obtaining the rest of them. Or at least the ones that look interesting to me, because I'm not reviewing every single one of these smut fests. So without further ado, let's tackle each of these games in order of their releases, starting with the aforementioned My Furry Neighbor. With My Furry Neighbor being the first game that this company has made, I wasn't going into this one thinking it was gonna be the best in the series. Even with series like Sonic the Hedgehog, though the first game paved the way to greatness, and some mistakes in the future, it wasn't regarded as the best Sonic game of all time. More like something to be respected for what came from it. This game is no different. It was the developer's first game that sold pretty good for an indie game. The gameplay is that of a visual novel. You read the story with a couple of choices that you can make, but these really don't matter, honestly. The choices, there being really one that I can remember, are completely superfluous to the actual story. Speaking of the story, let's dive into that. You play as the protagonist who runs into this girl who is every dude's wet dream when it comes to the grunge punk archetype. If this image of her makes you start licking the screen, all I can tell you is to look in the mirror and figure out what went wrong with you. Oh my god, that exposed stomach is making me act. You soon realize that she just moved in, and by the grace of the plot gods, it turns out that she's staying in the apartment right next to yours, which she uses as her opportunity to force herself into your home, eat your food, and take up your spot on the couch. Okay, I'm just saying, I don't care how sexy she is. If a woman forced herself inside, she would be getting a nice, delicious course of You have more moments with her. You find out that she had a bad past in college when a boyfriend cheated on her, and I think it's implied that she either tried to kill the 2 of them or she tried to kill herself. And apparently, after having real sex for the first time, she ended up wanting to leave him because of the trauma of going too fast, but you convince her that everything will be okay, and you two fall in love, and the screen goes black. Roll credits. That's the story. That's really it. That's all. There's nothing more. There's no alternative endings or anything like that. It's just a small story that could be seen as a 45 to 60 page short read that you get in that section in Barnes & Nobles that your mom is always walking through. So, gameplay is kind of basic, story is very short, and the game length is around an hour and a half if you're really reading the story and not skipping to the naughty scenes. However, for the first game of the series, it's not a bad start. The base is there, the art is pretty good, and the music, though nothing super amazing, is also at least okay to listen to. It's not something that I'm gonna call the greatest game ever, but it's also a fine experience. Like, I'm not gonna kick a game like this down in the dirt when the title is inoffensive, solidly built, and without any game-breaking glitches. They stepped out into the visual novel scene, started off small and succeeded. And at this point, the only place you can go is up, right? Well, December 4th, 2021, we got the next game, My Furry Detective. This one is definitely more interesting than the first game, mostly because the story actually has stakes, a bit of danger, and the story in my opinion was written a little bit better. You play as, well, yourself, who just moved into your old small city where you're working as a detective's assistant, with a woman named Ava as your mentor and partner. Only thing is that there isn't exactly much to do around here, besides looking for stolen bikes and shit. And to make matters worse, Ava here, and I'm not making this up, and she's an actual moron. She's a moron. She's an idiot. She doesn't know what she's doing. She cannot question anyone to save her life, and it only makes her out to be a laughingstock. Turns out, though, that she was only kept on the force due to the fact that her sister, the real detective, made the police chief promise to keep her around after she disappeared. She works as a detective to figure out where her sister is and what exactly is going on with her whereabouts. No, this does not get answered, and no, there is no sequel to this game. Later on, the deputy mayor gets kidnapped, and from the looks of it, the disappearance is way too similar to Ava's sister's disappearance. Because of this, she looks deeper into the case, with us being alongside her. We get closer to her, spend the night together, become a couple, and then get fired after arresting someone without a warrant, even though the bastard was sus as fuck. After getting fired, we get kidnapped by the culprit, get beaten close to death, find out that Ava was right all along with her assumption that a bunch of bike thefts were connected to the disappearances, and then get saved by Ava in the nick of time. Fast forward a little bit into the future, and we have our own office where we take cases, play around a little bit, etc, etc, etc. Game goes black, roll credits. So story, in my opinion, was not bad. Got me invested a little bit, the artwork was nice, once again, and the music was fitting. Now, what about the gameplay? Very boring, to be honest. I mean, it was a visual novel game, and those generally don't have much gameplay shakeups, but in this case, it actually kind of regressed. In the first game, there was at least a choice you can make or two, but in this one, all that was going on was reading. Sure, the choice didn't do much before, but this game just straight up removed them. All I was doing at this point was reading, and if I'm gonna do that, then why don't I just watch a walkthrough? Why not read a comic instead? At least the pictures and images would be a bit different than just seeing a single character on screen. Oh yeah, you heard me right. This game doesn't have any other character portraits, just Ava. So, yeah, kind of bare bones for a second title. Though, hopefully, with the next title, they can start adding new shakeups and new things, right? What the hell do you think? My Furry Teacher, released March 19, 2022, is once again another visual novel where you, a teacher at a high school, meet Trish, who is on probation. The two of you don't exactly gel well with each other, but after a bit you start to realize that she may not be so bad after all. After working a long night, grading tests, and saving tests from Trish's coffee accident, they kinda get snowed in, with no cell phone service available. They have no choice but to stay there for the night. The two get closer. Trish and our protagonist have some NSFW fun time. They have a fight due to Trish telling him to keep aiming higher even though he feels like her worldviews are childish. They make up, do a bit more lore dumping, have the naughties again after waking up from getting drunk with scotch. I don't know how that even works. And then the game ends. Roll credits. Notice how I've started to really shorten the time it takes to talk about the story of these games? Well, that's because, honestly, these game stories are really bare bones. They don't do much to really raise the stakes, and they all follow the same basic format with storytelling. They have the opening, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and then the conclusion. There's no twists, or subplots, or B-plots, just the story given. And that's why at this point I started to get a bit tired of this. I'm already 3 games in, and nothing has changed. Granted, They did bring back the character choice, but I can't show that scene because if I did, this video and channel would get swiftly demonetized. Again, it's superfluous to the actual story. So again, nothing has really changed or upgraded. Please, let the next game have something more. I'm begging you. I can't escape this boring ass gameplay. My Furry Maid, released in 2022, November 19th, follows a teacher at a Butler in maid school, who is tasked with training an actress named Anna, and oh my god, this shit is starting to get taxing! Anna meets you, you learn that her family is wealthy, you find out that the main dude has trauma after his first love died of an illness, who also helped him get into the hobby of painting. You and Anna go on a date, have naughties, you wake up, have naughties again, you get into an argument, you make up, naughties, roll credits. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, but I can't do it. I can't put my attention into this game, especially when the story is just not drawing my attention, and the gameplay is literally the same over all of these titles. I feel myself just getting sleepy, getting tired, and just not wanting to put any effort into these things. And I still have more games to go. My Furry Dragon, March 25th, 2023. Alright, something different. We're in the ye olden times this time. We're the town black sheep, and apparently the king's daughter, Lily, has gone missing. Because of this, and our village seeing us as a useless piece of shit, we're the ones who are forced to go. Even our dad doesn't do anything to save us from our fate, and it's a bad one, to be honest, because the princess was taken into a deadly forest where an evil dragon lives. So, we make our way into the forest, find a giant castle or tower, and run into the evil dragon known as Nessa. Turns out that Lily had been staying here for a bit after Nessa lifted a death curse from her and lost track of time. Apparently, the tower has that effect on folks. Hey, I understand that. Second and Charles has that effect on me too. She heads back, but we stay with Nessa, getting to know more about her and getting closer to her. Turns out that she has been around for almost 300 years, I think? And I've seen a shitload of stuff. But even throughout all that, she still doesn't know how to read. So we teach her, and she teaches us magic. Nice stuff happens, she helps us come to terms with our father and shows that he actually does care, and then we help the king make an agreement with Nessa so that she doesn't have to live in hiding any longer. Game also ends with Nessa getting pregnant, so yeah, happy times. Roll credits, the end. Okay, so I may have liked this one a bit better than the rest, mostly because the game actually had some more additions to the presentation. NPCs have their own basic portraits, Lily has her own portrait, the setting and story is different in comparison to the other ones, and in my opinion, it was actually compelling. I had a decent time with this one. Yes, the gameplay was basically reading without any sort of choices or branching pathways, but it was at least a change from the norm, and I can respect that. Yeah, too bad the next game doesn't do that! July 15th, 2023, we got My Furry Stepmom, and no, she's not actually our stepmom. She's an actor playing a stepmom in, naughty videos. Turns out we're an adult film actor, and we meet Mila, another actor who is doing her first role in hetero naughty films. You have your naughty scenes, get closer, find out that she never did hetero because she worried it would keep her from getting a boyfriend, and that she was feeling bad that she was enjoying the naughty time she was having with the main character. Help her feel better about it, and then you get together and quit being an adult film actor. Now it's all about that amateur stuff with her, using cams and PCs. Roll credits. How did we backtrack so far? No NPC portraits, no enthralling story, back to making Barnes & Noble short reads. Like, why? You had the strat before. Why did you go back? Why, man? Admittedly, though, I can say that it was much more understandable due to the last game having a more whimsical and magical story. If they continued with it and copied it, then we just have the same problem. At the end of the day, it was still okay. Basically, what I'm saying is, we don't want a new Super Mario Bros. Issue. You know, every single new Super Mario Bros. Game was so similar. Nothing really changed besides a new power-up or something along those lines. It wasn't until Wonder came out with a new Super Mario Bros. Formula was made way better, way different. We don't want that situation. So you know what? Good on you guys. Okay, so what's next after this one? My Furry Protogen, released on August 11th, 2023. Okay, so we're back to the kinda ye old times, but with a mix of sci-fi. Nice, nice. Something different from the norm. I can get behind this. We follow the protagonist, who is the supposed chosen one of the village. It's his 20th birthday, and during his yearly speech, he ends up running away, not being able to deal with the pressure. After hours of running and getting lost, he notices a spacecraft landing near the river and meets Juno, a Protogen scientist who's studying the world. She's in search of the planet's leader, who should know everything about the world, and in an act of desperation, we lie to her and tell her that we are the world leader. She takes her sightseeing, bullshit happens, and then our secret gets out. She, of course, gets angry due to the fact that she had another friend who died years ago. She decides to keep you around, you two have the naughties, and then it comes out that the world is being attacked by an artificial disease. Apparently this disease is so strong and so powerful that it goes from planet to planet, targeting the inhabitants and the actual planet itself. So it's up to us to find the cure. Yeah, we didn't find that cure. And in the end, we are the lone survivors of the planet as it basically explodes and turns into rubble. Roll credits. Okay, so this one is definitely different from the rest. I mean, the game has one of the most bittersweet endings from the bunch, and the setting is definitely different and open-ended as well, with many more stories that could come from this one game. And apparently, the developers feel the same way, because these guys are making the very first sequel to one of their own games. Let's hope this one goes up in quality as well. Okay, so we finished with this one on a high note. What exactly could they do next? What could you do in the My Furry series? You just don't! Along with the My Furry series, they also made a spin-off series called the Meet Cute series, which apparently has the same gameplay and style. There's only one problem though. They are significantly shorter. You meet a lady at a cafe, she helps clean your clothes, naughty scene. You go out on a date, head home, then naughty scene. Game ends. I beat and finished this game, Meet Cute Cafe, in about 30 minutes. And this game came out in 2022. I mean, the art looks nice and the scenes are cute, but there is literally no conflict in the story. It's just a single day and night, and then bam, falling in love. How does that even happen? Game is short at least, so I wasn't bored out of my mind, and the art looks alright too, for the most part. I'm literally trying to find anything to talk about. So at this point, there's only one more game that they made recently, and I gotta be honest, it's not looking too good right now. I am literally dying of boredom here with each entry, and I cannot take any more of these games. This one better be good, I swear. Just give me a few changes, a better story, some new artwork, anything, man, please! I'm tired of playing the same game, but with a few shades of paint. I want a new type of house. I don't want the same house, but with blue paint instead of white! Okay, so I see a change though. The logo is different. Thank God. I was tired of seeing that damn font. Furry Boss drops the usual My Furry name and goes with something different, with what seems to be a different art style. You play as a newbie at an office and get settled into your new job. First of all, I see that they changed the text box from usual type. From a HUD design standpoint, we're going places, finally! The job seems to have one thing that makes the others different, and that obviously is the boss. Her name is Vanessa, and what the hell? They changed the art style, and it looks good! They made Vanessa look sexy! Oh my god! Okay, yeah, I gotta be honest, she actually does look good. You start to realize that she continues to flirt openly with you, but everyone doesn't even notice or pay it any mind. Apparently that's normal for her, and she takes enjoyment over the fact that we react to it more than most. However, things don't take their naughty turn until that fateful day where Vanessa accidentally deletes an important file. We, as the usual protagonist, stay late and rewrite the file where we have the naughty time everyone desires. The days go by, we have naughty time every chance we get, and then that's when the bullshit happens. A new newbie shows up, and because of this, we notice that she was treating him the same way that she was treating us. Jealousy flows through our veins, and during a party, she noticed that we're jealous and takes us to her office. After airing out what we're thinking, we finally confess, and she, taken aback, happily accepts our confession. Turns out, she only ever really reacts and talks to people like that in order to keep folks from finding out that she's feeling bad or unhappy. since she was constantly being rejected during her college years. Okay, first of all, no, I don't believe that for a second. You're telling me not one person was into you during college? Nah, that's impossible. Look at those hips, those thighs, that sexy smile. Like, no. That cannot be right. A woman looks at me with that look, and I'm completely folding. Fairly certain everybody else feels that way, except mostly the furries. But still, I can't be the only one that think this. No. That makes zero sense. Anyways, we hold each other tightly, enjoy the night, and then the game ends. So that was the My Furry series. Not every game was a banger in my eyes, but the ones that I liked were fairly enjoyable. I think my main problem with this series is how they all feel. The art style in most of them are all the same. The stories for most of them all have the same predictable feel, and the gameplay is... well, it's just the gameplay. The reason why My Furry Dragon and My Furry Protogen were better in my eyes was because they did something different and shook up the story, which is where the draw and enjoyment of visual novels come from. Heck, even My Furry Detective did this, and this was the second game they came out with. And Furry Boss even beats those due to how different the art is, the use of more backgrounds, the supporting cast, the writing, the overall story, and how long it takes for the satisfying payoff at the end, and just everything that they could come up with for it. If the games had this approach with the artwork changing and the stories getting better, then I can see a person trying out the game. There is no damn reason why you should check out the full series though. Here's the ones you should play: My Furry Detective, My Furry Protogen, My Furry Dragon, and Furry Boss, and only when those games are on sale. The series is very much a samey trip, with every single one almost meshing together. The only thing I could see a person going for is if the furry lady looks sexy to them. Like, Vanessa is a damn baddie, so I can understand getting this one, but not much some of the other ones. Now, am I saying these games are utter trash? No, I am not. The games function correctly, they don't bug out, and they don't leave your computer smoking, but the problem is that they're just boring. The story in a visual novel is the main draw of the genre, and if the story is samey or boring, then what exactly is the point in diving into the full series? Honestly, in my opinion, just pick whichever waifu looks cuter to you and leave the rest alone, unless you really want to see NSFW stuff. But even then, Rule 34, that's where it exists. Go look. Hopefully though, the developers take notes from their latest games and continue on this good note instead of going backwards. Maybe with all the folks buying their games, they'll be able to make more additions that shows how far they've gone, just like with Furry Boss. Maybe when Furry Superstar comes out, we'll be in for a good ride. Only time will tell.